Hey, this is Noah with the Creative Startup, and today we're going to talk about getting in your own head, examining your thoughts and attitudes, and figuring out if your ideas are really good. Now, this is going to be a shorter video. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare this week. I'm actually reading from my red journal, which is my personal thoughts. Usually my scripts are in this green journal, but this is just some thoughts that I was writing down over this last weekend. And I think they really apply to being creative, being a musician, being an artist, whatever it may be that you're hoping to endeavor into. This skill is really, really crucial. I often find myself and those around me quite eager to affirm their weaknesses as strengths. We are proud of what we lack. Compassion, empathy, sensitivity, or a soft heart. Those are things that I struggle with. The proposition is quite terrifying. The idea that I might choose to emphasize the very thing which those around me find ugly and unappealing. Or that I might gravitate towards a crowd who reflects my ugliness. This is something I've seen in myself, I've seen in the people around me, and it's super scary, the thought that maybe we're going to take these things that are bad about us, ugly about us, but that we're a little bit proud of, and then embellish them more, put them more into what we work, put them more into what we say. So for example, this is like a really funny, dumb example. It's not really that meaningful, but it illustrates the point. Up at the cabin the other weekend with my sister and my good friend Hannah, and they're both girls. They're both kind of emotional. Not saying that girls are all emotional, but they are pretty emotional people. And my dog is sitting there. His name's Rudy. Great, nice little dog. And I brought it up that I don't think dogs have feelings. I don't think they have feelings. You know, I think they have instincts and they have this and they have that, but I don't think they have like emotional feelings like we do. And then they wanted to argue that yes, they do. Dogs do have feelings. Of course they do. Look at, they love you when they're sad. And I'm like, no, that's just an instinct. That's how they survive. We feed them. Like, oh, but they go above and beyond. So it's just this back and forth. And it wasn't bad, and there was nothing, no one was hurt by it or no offense, nothing. But I thought it was a really interesting situation, and so I sat down and started writing about it, and I realized that in me saying that dogs don't have feelings, it affirms something in me, and that's that I'm a pretty logical person. You know, I can be creative, but I tend to be logical. My first thought is logic. It's not feeling, it's not emotion, it's logic. And so when I talk about a dog not having feelings, I feel good. It makes my logic side come out and I just get stronger and stronger in logic. And so I just want to reaffirm what I'm saying. I don't care how it makes them feel. I don't care if they don't like me because of it, but I'm so proud of my logic that I just keep affirming it. Whereas on the other side, they have this beautiful, soft, emotional side that I totally don't have. And so they want to affirm their emotion. They want to affirm that softness, that kindness, that being in tune with nature and stuff. And I don't see that. I don't really think that's all that important. But to them, it's important to them. And so they emphasize that. And so I emphasize my weakness of being overly logical sometimes. And they emphasize their sometimes weakness of being too emotional sometimes. Neither are always weaknesses. They're both actually really good things. But they can be weaknesses if you use them too much or if you push them against other people's feelings. And a lot of artists struggle with this because, see, artists, you want to be authentic, you want to be real, you want your work to represent something that relates to people. You know, you want it to be an expression of yourself, but you want to relate to people. So I want to help you guys just think, what are the things that I do, that I say, that I feel, what are these opinions that are so strong in me that might be attractive to a group of people? Like I wrote in here, I'm afraid that I'm just going to attract to myself, or I'm going to put myself in situations with people who agree with me. And that's so terrible for character development, for art development, for career development. You can't just stick around people like you. That's how people stagnate. Instead, I want to be around people who challenge me and chip away at my problems, chip away at the things I disagree with. So that means that I need to work on those things that are ugly. You know, maybe you're a super, super strong Democrat and that's your thing. You know, you don't like Trump and Hillary should have won and you're a Democrat, right? And you feel justified in that. You're proud of that. But if you're talking with a Republican, that's just going to come off as ugly if you're too strong about it. If you share your opinion, great. But if you're too pushy, you're too strong, gross. I don't care how excited you are about Hillary or how mad you are about Trump if I'm not a Democrat as well. So it creates a tension more than it does a communication. And this happens a lot in art, I think. I think bad art is when people try to push their view of the world upon everyone else. Good art, great creativity, beautiful art is observational. It says, get rid of my biases, get rid of those things that I over-affirm in myself, put those to the side, and observe. Open your eyes and see what you feel. Observe your feelings. Don't just feel them and be controlled by them. I really love in the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, there's this diagram of stimulus with an arrow pointing and then response with an arrow pointing, right? And that's how a lot of people function. There's a stimulus and they respond. But what you can do if you learn to temper these just emotional responses, if you learn to temper this ego that wells up inside that wants to just affirm who you already are, and step in between that stimulus and stand in between the stimulus and the response. Say, nope, I'm not just going to go. I'm going to observe. I'm going to see how I feel. I'm going to understand how I feel. I'm going to see how it makes other people feel. I'm going to see how they relate to it. And that's why it's also important to read people. You know, when you're in a conversation and you're testing out an idea, maybe for a speech or a poem or a song or a painting, anything like that, kind of start talking, not maybe about the actual work itself, but about the idea and your opinions on it, your views. But see if you can do it in a way that doesn't make people cringe up, or that doesn't make people who agree with you just get super hyped, but instead encourages people to think, encourages people to dig deeper. I can promise you, if you learn to do this, it's going to help you in your career, and it's going to help you create better art. It really, really will. Learning to set aside, this is what I want everyone to know, and this is who I am, and I'm so proud of myself. Set that aside. Don't affirm your weaknesses. Get rid of the weaknesses. Get rid of those opinions that are so huge and ugly and in everybody's way. And instead focus on understanding. Focus on communicating in a way that makes people want to listen. I hope this is helpful for you. Again, this is Noah with the Creative Startup Podcast. If you like it, subscribe below. Have a great week.